What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Death Stranding 2 and just my thoughts on the visuals. I just wanted to gush over them. I'm making my way through the game, and hopefully can have a review up and other kind of spoiler videos very, very soon. But I mean, it's been the talk of the town on social media. You probably have seen Twitter pictures and all sorts of stuff. I mean, the game just looks absolutely unreal. That engine coming from Guerrilla Games, right? Honestly, I can't wait to see what Horizon 3 looks like, but Kojima just knows how to push it. And I mean, like, the fine details of pretty much anything. There's like the super fine details of like washing yourself off in the water, and that Sam gets a suntan, and you can actually get frostbite, and when you go into your room you can actually see that. Those things are unreal. You know, some of like the very small facial features and just things that you can tell like they're really pushing it. But for me, honestly, it's more about like the large scale stuff. I even last night, I was making some deliveries as one does in this game, and you just kind of, and the camera actually helps you with this, right? Sometimes the camera will pull itself out on purpose. And it's almost like Kojima's flexing, right? It's like, okay, let me lift the ambiance a little bit, right? Let's play some like nice tunes in the background, and let's just kind of show you the environment from like a top-down type angle. And he said, like, you don't even have to have the camera like that. You can pull it away if you don't want it, but I always embrace it. Whether I'm on a cliff, and it's kind of how the game starts, right, where it pulls you out. But I think in this case, I was on like the side of a snowy mountain, and it's just like you look at the vista, you look, far away, and it's unreal. It's like you're actually freaking there. And I mean, that to me is really the standout. I mean, I am always very much impressed anytime two characters are talking to each other in this game. Like, you put Norman Reedus, you put let's say Sam and Fragile, right? You put them like right up with each other. It's like somebody could walk by and think you're watching a movie, because I mean, it just is literally a one-to-one, replication of these characters. But again, to me, it's about that environment, because I've talked about this even with my maybe controversial opinions of the game itself. Like, it's far easier and it's more welcoming, and I think a big part of that, well, they kind of put things closer together in this game than they did in the first game, but there's just so much more life, I would say, and this is a positive, for the game itself. There's just more life to it, whether it's, I mean, like, there's literally animals and stuff you could find, but I mean, everything just looks so good and so distinctive. Like the animal shelter, that kind of like middle of the two mountains, like on each side, like, it's got its own feel, right? That's like a rainforest type area, so there's all these trees, and sometimes they'll play with, and I haven't even gotten here yet, what about like the environmental effects, right? When it's fire, when it's raining, when it's snowing, when there's going through a sandstorm. I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second, but every area kind of ties to that, right? There's certain story moments where he'll do something like that, but every area just looks so good. And like, I'm finally in the mountains, right? So I'm going in the snow, and like the rain is hitting and it feels heavy, and then it's kind of turning into snow. It's unbelievable. It is, and I just really think it helps the game feel more alive and feel like you're almost like doing it yourself. I guess it kind of takes you out of it when like you're just drop kicking somebody, right, from like a distance or whatever. But just what they managed to do with the world, making cliffs and making rocks and making rivers. I'm a big water guy. It's unreal. I would say like the rivers and stuff, super good. I think the effects of like walking through them are even better. And I actually think the rain is the thing that really stands out. Again, like I try to judge water in games almost separate from anything else in the game. It's super good, but I don't think there's anything like going through a rainstorm. When it, in the first game, it happens so often, it happens less often here, and I actually think it's better because of it. You have the rainstorm areas, and you have like the BT encounters, and they're more spaced out, in this one. Probably just so, hey, look at the environment, right, without the rain to kind of distract you. But I mean, when you're going through a rainstorm, or a blizzard or whatever it might be, like it's unbelievable. And then, to kind of end this video off, again, like those weather effects. I mean, again, he kind of starts you off very early in the game going through a sandstorm. I actually just experienced my second I don't even know if I needed to do it. There's a sandstorm that is blocking, like, you're in one area, the sandstorm is in between, and then on the other side of it is your objective. I just literally trekked right through it, and it was probably a bad idea. I couldn't see, and I mean, actually, and I loved it. I mean, it was literally 2 to 4 minutes of real time of me driving in what I thought was a relatively straight line. It really wasn't. And you're just going through it. And there's lightning strikes all over the freaking place. And it's like, I can't see a thing. And now I will say this, in the first game, like, they did have, I think, a snowstorm kind of in like the tail end of the game, or at least when you get to like the mountain type location. destination. I mean, that had a similar feel. It's like, I can't see. I'm just going to walk, and good luck. Good luck, Sam, because, I don't even know where the destination is anymore. And it just works so well. And that's the sandstorm. I mean, again, like rain, that happens quite often. I guess when there's like flooding, I haven't seen too much of it. I think, with flooding and with the quakes, it's more of me like just looking at what other people have experienced. The quakes, I've felt them, like as Sam walking around, and then the world shakes, and it feels cool. And it's like, it's an interesting spot to like actually be in. I haven't actually seen, like I've seen a couple rocks rolling down a hill. I've never seen, besides I guess the very beginning of the game, right? Because that's kind of like a pre-planned thing. After that, I haven't actually seen one of the quakes affect a route yet, but I've seen other people. And then I honestly, same thing, like the flooding I did see, I think real time, but only maybe once or twice. I was walking up to like a river or something that was a little bit more shallow, and I was like, oh, I'll go through this. And then I kind of turned the camera, turned it back, and I realized, oh my God, did that just flood? Almost in a blink of an eye, it flooded when I wasn't even looking at it, because the water, like the stream was faster. And then I did my scanner, and all of a sudden now it's deep, and it's like, okay, I can't cross it anymore. So, that, it's only happened a couple times for the flood, but that was incredible. The forest fire, I think that's a pretty specific, like it only happens when the game wants it to happen. But that was insane, when that actually played out. It's been incredible. I mean, the game just, obviously when you fight Neil, I don't want to get too in-depth with that stuff, but, some of the kind of flashbacky type situations, it's not really a flashback, but whatever. But, in those scenes, I've done 2 of them so far. One is water, one is fire. Both insane. I think the fire one, honestly, because it looks like fire works so often, just unreal, just so freaking good. It's one of the best aspects of the game, and I don't judge an entire game based off the visuals. I think there's a lot more than the visuals that make a game good, but visuals can definitely help in a game where you're connecting, you're delivering, you're outside, you're always moving around from point A to point B. To make it look as pretty as possible, not even pretty, to make it look like, I mean, technically as real as possible, and to just give it that kind of life injection, through all of these things we talked about, that really helps. It really does go a long way, and visuals, I think, can help a game like Death Stranding more than it can help like Call of Duty, let's say, right? Like Call of Duty, it's like, if it doesn't feel good, it's not going to work, right? So certain games, more of the great meter depends on a certain thing versus another thing. For this, I think the visuals can very much help it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.